There are a few facts about teachers that tend to ring true across the board. First, they are vastly underpaid for the work they do. Second, they put their hearts and souls into teaching their kids, and it's oftentimes a thankless job. Some teachers go above and beyond with their children, inspiring them to make a difference while making sure they are always there for their kids. We have found a group of teachers who prove that educators really do care about the future of our children and will do whatever it takes to motivate and inspire them to succeed. The fight against cancer and a caring teacher. This Iranian teacher learned that one of his students was being admitted to the hospital for cancer treatment. Fearing that the young man would fall behind in school, the teacher decided to make a difference. After a long day of teaching students, this amazing educator heads to the hospital where he fills in the sick boy on all of the work he missed that day. If there was ever a no child left behind product we could get behind, this would be it. The teacher is sacrificing lots of his free time to make sure a sick child receives the extra attention he needs to succeed in life. A teacher and a fussy baby. In 2016, a college professor earned international recognition for a simple but loving act. One of the professor's students was forced to bring her child to class because her babysitter cancelled at the last moment. During the class, the baby started to grow fussy and then cry. Instead of asking his student to leave, the professor picked up the child and continued to teach his class. Amazingly, the child loved being held by her new friend and stopped fussing. Class went on like normal and his student wasn't forced to miss a valuable day in the professor's classroom. This gay teacher was clowning around with a purpose. An openly gay teacher dressed up as a clown and showed up at school because of a remark one of his students made during class. A teenager said the day prior, "I'm glad gays can't marry here. They scare me, kinda like clowns." He wanted to show the student that when confronted with their biggest fears, they can overcome those obstacles and take a different view on life. We don't know if the student is still creeped out by clowns, but the teacher was brave to teach a lesson in such a hilarious but meaningful way. 7 a.m. finals? That's just ridiculous. Finals at 7 a.m.? If you're a college student you probably dread having to crawl out of bed so early to take an exam that could determine your future. A group of teachers at a university also didn't appreciate making their students take a pre-scheduled final so early. In protest of the university's decision, the teachers showed up wearing pajamas. It was a simple act of solidarity, but their students loved that the instructors shared such a strong opinion with them. Sometimes it's the little things in life that can inspire a student and show them that their educators are on their side and only want what's best for them. This teacher realized that sometimes you just have to laugh. Learning isn't always the most fun thing in the world. Even the best of students can fall asleep if they were up studying late the night before class. Other students work long hours to support themselves. Instead of being mad that one of his students passed out in class, this teacher had a little bit of fun. The teacher started clapping right beside the student. Startled from their sleep, the student also started clapping. Teachers who can have fun with their students have a much better chance of getting them to engage in important and possibly life-changing discussions. A change in hairstyle for an awesome cause. This teacher found out that one of her students were being teased because of her hairstyle. Instead of confronting her students, which may have led to more bullying, this teacher followed suit and had her hair fashioned in the same way. Kids can be cruel, and it is often the job of our educators to teach them lessons in subtle ways. Based on the little girl's reaction to her teacher's new hair, the experiment was a success. It's moments like this that we quickly realize our teachers are underpaid and underappreciated. Here's to hoping all of the other amazing teachers out there receive some recognition for this type of action. 3 teachers who leave a lasting impression every year. This group of 3 teachers decided a while ago to always inject a bit of humor into their school's yearbook. They get together and come up with a fun theme that is then executed to perfection. It's their way of leaving every student that moves on to bigger and better things with a lasting impression of their teachers. Sometimes the best way to show a student that education can be fun is by actually having fun. This might also be great job security, because who wants to fire one of these teachers and break up their awesome end-of-year celebration with a pink slip? Funny, engaging, and thoughtful. This is how all educators should be. This teacher encourages creativity even when unsolicited tests can be a stressful time for many students. If you don't test well or you have ADHD, it can be torture. This student decided to add a fun little doodle into part of their test. Instead of ignoring the student's creative drawing, the teacher jumped in on the action. Nurturing the creative side of a student can make all the difference in their life. This teacher showed that while they are there to teach, they can also speak to their kids on a level that might not be expected of them. Plus, the whole superhero versus wizard angle is one we'd like to see played out on the big screen. This teacher attends every student event. This 4th grade teacher deserves to be awarded a Teacher of the Year award every single year he's still working. He spent 4 hours getting into this costume for a student event. But his generosity doesn't end there. One of his students' dads recently explained that the teacher makes it a point to attend every one of his students' events, even if they are not school-related. This type of investment in so many children's lives deserves our admiration. The fact that a dad for one of his students spoke up publicly about his efforts speaks volumes to the teacher's character. Making monster statues with their students' art can be a particularly hard class to teach. An art teacher is responsible for teaching students techniques they can use to create works of art, but at the same time, they need to foster individual creativity. One way to accomplish both is to help students create something and then show how it can leave an impression in the real world. This teacher builds giant statues with his class and then places them in random spots all over Montana. It's a bit creepy but also a fun way to show off the work of their students. We are definitely a bit creeped out after taking a closer look at this classroom creation. A teacher shows generosity to a baby animal. A student posted this photo of their physics teacher and a piglet. When he first entered the classroom, the piglet was tucked inside of his shirt. The baby pig was so young that it required external body heat to stay warm and alive. The piglet also needed to be fed every couple of hours. Teaching students about being kind to animals while teaching physics definitely makes this teacher a rare breed. The fact that it was a student who posted about the teacher's good deed also shows they are getting through to their students in a very big and important way. Protesting in favor of her students' rights, this teacher is wearing a beanie, hoodie, and cargo pants for the best possible reason. The day prior, a teacher tried to have a student expelled simply for wearing a beanie to school. This teacher thought their fellow faculty member went way too far in their attack. To protest the other teacher's hateful decision, she showed up wearing all of the clothes that could possibly get a student in trouble. Seriously though, why in the world are we worried about a kid wearing a beanie during a time of a failing education system? We really hope this teacher's silent protest didn't go unnoticed. This teacher sacrificed her own privacy to teach a lesson. This teacher was attempting to drive home the importance of proper social media use to their students. At the heart of her lesson, she wanted students to realize how quickly stuff can spread on social media. The teacher posted on Facebook and asked for likes. She was willing to sacrifice some of her own privacy online to make sure her young students thought carefully before posting anything on the internet. We don't know if her experiment worked, but it's a good way to show students you care about them and are willing to do whatever it takes to keep them safe and educated at the same time. Inspiring their student to be original. This student really wanted to hedge their bet when taking a test. They drew a picture of a man dolphin and asked their teacher to accept the dolphin in exchange for any wrong answers. The teacher was so amused with the man dolphin that they awarded everyone in the class 4 bonus points for their work. It's important for teachers to find what inspires their students and then exploit that strength as much as humanly possible. We don't know what score this student managed to pull in, but it was at least 4 points higher than they would have scored without this silly picture. This teacher found a great way to give to charity. Being a teacher is about more than just teaching students and grading papers. Teachers are the first line of offense when it comes to turning young boys and girls into grown men and women. This teacher wanted to donate non-perishable food to a local shelter and gave their students an incentivized way to help. For every piece of non-perishable food a student brought to the classroom, the teacher would give them half an extra credit point with no limit. The campaign was a success and students were awarded test points while learning an important lesson about giving back to their community in a simple but effective way. This teacher inspires her students during break. When a student goes on spring break, teachers are not foolish. They know many of their children have completely put school and studying out of their mind for a short period of time. Mrs. Rapp sent notes to her students to remind them how excited she was to have them back in her classroom. Teachers often go out of their way to make sure their students are learning everything they need to know for the future, and they don't get enough credit for their amazing work. Hopefully, Taylor received this letter and felt inspired to keep on learning and preparing for their future. This teacher started a gentleman's club to help young men. This teacher realized many of the young men in his school were growing up without fathers around to teach them about becoming men. He decided to set up the gentleman's club, which focuses on teaching the boys how to shake hands, make eye contact, and act in such a manner as to command respect and show respect in kind. The program became so successful that his story went viral, and a second teacher joined in the cause to make sure the program would remain strong and continue to grow. This is what happens when amazing teachers go above and beyond the call of duty for their students. This teacher found a way to teach sex ed after it was restricted. This teacher was told they were not allowed to teach his students about putting on a condom. That meant no bananas to demonstrate, no pictures to be shown, etc. Not wanting to rob his kids of an important life lesson, he simply showed them how to put on a sock. It was a brilliant workaround, and his students shared photos of his demonstration, which impressed them for its creative thinking. A great teacher will do whatever it takes to make sure their students are as educated as possible. We bet you'll never look at putting on socks the same way again. Sorry about that. No homework anymore. Countless studies have now shown that teachers who don't assign homework tend to have students who pay more attention in class and succeed later in life. This teacher sent home a letter with her students in which she promised no homework. Students who didn't finish their work in class would be asked to finish it before school the next day. Kids who paid attention and did the work were free to go home and play until bedtime. This is definitely a teacher who will be long remembered by her students. Hopefully, parents took to this new just as well as their students likely did. This woman was still teaching at 100 years old. They say with age comes wisdom. A teacher's job is partly to pass down their wisdom to their students. For that reason, one group of elementary students probably received a lot of knowledge they wouldn't normally get from a teacher. That's because their elementary school educator turned 100 years old. We should add that their teacher looks way younger than 100. We bet these kids hear some incredibly stories for a teacher who was in her teens during the Great Depression and lived through 2 world wars. If every teacher in America had this woman's life experiences, our education system would be a lot different than it is today.